call the meeting to order decision for the Council of the Village of Royal Palm Beach. It's Thursday, November 20th, 2025, and it is 6:30 p.m. If you would all stand, if you're able, and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the
flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all very much. And once again, welcome this evening. And Madam Clerk, please let the record show that all members of the council are present except for Councilwoman Rodusky, who I believe is online, and she is attending the next Riverview City Annual Conference.
Yes, Mayor, I will. Thank you.
I am present, Mayor.
Welcome. We're glad to have you. And I want to welcome everybody again. And I want to ask if there's any Royal Palm Beach High School students who are participating in our youth civics leadership program here with us tonight. If you are, would you raise your hand or stand up? Or this mic? Hang on.
Just turn it on.
Okay, we on? Am I gonna have to start over? No, I'm only kidding. So I don't see any members of the high school class that's participating in our youth civics leadership program. Unfortunate tonight, but I understand that we're going to be looking forward to seeing them at the beginning of the year. It's a really great program. Actually, we're already doing some modifications of it as we're going. We started out with a pilot program, and we got a little bit of feedback from some of the students, which included that they would appreciate having kind of an after meeting where they could review any of the meetings they attend with one or more of us and ask questions so they get more insight into exactly what they saw during the meeting, which I think is a great idea. So we're planning to do that the beginning of the year. Well, we have a rare opportunity this evening. Not too many times that you get a chance to celebrate somebody's birthday that is very remarkable. And tonight we celebrate Miss Angelina Dawkins, who has recently turned 103 years old. She is amazing. She's a resident in Royal Palm Beach. And this milestone is certainly something that's a demonstration of resilience, long life, accumulating a lot of wisdom and contributing to family and to the community, as I understand it. What I'd like to do is we have a little presentation that I'd like to make in a moment, but I'm going to read the certificate that we have, which is a Centennial Lifetime Achievement Award. And I promise you, we haven't given out very many of these. And it reads as follows. Angelina Dawkins. Presented to Angelina Dawkins, born on November 15, 1922 in Westmoreland, Jamaica. Now 103 years old, Angelina migrated to the United States in 1981 and later made her home in Royal Palm Beach. Affectionately known as Miss G, Aunt Gina, and Grandma, she has inspired generations through her strength, kindness, and generosity. For over 50 years, she dedicated herself to caring for others as a domestic professional and shared her love through her cooking, always ensuring everyone felt welcomed and well-fed. Her life stands as a shining example of compassion, resilience, and unwavering love. And so if you all would join me down in front here, I will share this certificate with you all, and the council wants to join me as well, that'd be great. And so, what would a birthday be without flowers? So we got flowers for you.
There'll be cake next time.
It's a good idea. Cake for everyone. So moving on with our agenda this evening, we have two presentations this evening. Interestingly enough, both I think from a county perspective. We will begin with welcoming Chief Pat Kennedy from Palm Beach County Fire Rescue. Chief Kennedy and his team play a vital part here in Royal Palm Beach and throughout the county in keeping all of our residents safe and providing very, very responsive attention to our needs. So both chiefs, we have Chief Romero and Chief Kennedy will be, I guess, speaking to us this evening. And we welcome both of you, and you have the floor.
I think you have to press the button. Is it green?
It's green now. You did, all right. I'm glad you did. So anyhow, thank you for allowing us the opportunity, the time to present tonight. And what we want to talk about is the local bill that's being presented that helps us out a little bit with annexation or future annexations and what that looks like for fire rescue and the MSTU and Palm Beach County Fire Rescue and the service area. So we wanted to take the opportunity to meet with all of the municipalities that we do serve because we are your fire departments. We want to let you know a little bit about that, what that looks like, and, you know, answer any questions that we can and maybe, you know, troubleshoot any concerns. And there has been some misconception out there of what this looks like. So we wanted you to kind of hear it just from us. So what this bill does is it doesn't say that the municipality cannot annex. It doesn't say, you know, how much your territory, when or when you cannot. What it does is it helps us navigate after the annexation what that looks like for fire rescue services so that that cost doesn't just negatively impact the city and or the county, because when we get annexed and we lose that service delivery area, eventually that cost has to transfer somewhere else. And so we have 17 fire stations that are currently in areas that have been serving those areas that are in potential annexation areas. And what that does is it makes it very difficult for planning and keeping up with future growth of the county for areas that we know that we are serving if a municipality decides that they want to annex that area and then they just get to take over the fire rescue services also. We're seeing this obviously with Jupiter, and they're building a fire station directly across the street from Station 18, which the citizens, residents, taxpayers have already paid for. And so they're building another station, and it's just not the best use of resources. We were looking at this when Station 40 is another example down in Boynton, the Boynton area. It was 10 years in the planning for that station. It was $10 million for the station, $1 million for a fire truck, $500,000 for a rescue truck, the staffing and everything that goes along with it. And then the day that we opened doors on Station 40, Boynton proposed a plan to annex a specific area around that station. And the only thing they wanted to leave Palm Beach County Fire Rescue to serve was 7 mobile home parks. And unfortunately, there's a low tax base with mobile home parks and a high call volume traditionally. There's been a high call volume. So that's really difficult for us to navigate. We have stations that need improvement. They need to be rebuilt. We have service delivery areas that are just exploding. And if we don't have any type of safety net, it's very difficult to plan and to prepare for that moving forward. And so, like I said, we're speaking with all the municipalities that we do serve because we are your fire department. And we just want to make sure you all are well aware of what that looks like and the intent behind it. So without further ado, I'll allow Chief Kennedy to have a few words as well. So thank you.
Thank you.
I keep telling myself I'm going to change the order and not go after Chief Romero, but I keep making the same decision. And I think now I know why. So Mayor, Vice Mayor, Council, staff, just thank you for the opportunity to be here tonight. And more importantly, thank you for the opportunity to lead 2,000 men and women that support the mission and vision of Palm Beach County Fire Rescue. I know I have said this before in front of this body that I am the circumstance of a merger. I came from Lantana in 1996. I know shortly after that Royal Palm came in, but I am somebody that came through a merger. I know what that looks like. I know what the training, the resources, and the system looks like. Now as the fire chief, I'm certainly trying to plan for the future. I'm trying to make sure that not only the 16 or 17 stations that Chief Romero referred to, we're also looking at future growth and where do we put those. And sometimes you just take a deep breath. You take a deep breath and say, are we going to move forward with this investment that Chief Romero spoke about, knowing that there's a threat of annexation coming? And what do we do with those firefighters? What do we do with those stations? And it certainly would look wasteful in some people's eyes. So, but it is a decision to make when you're thinking about response times and you're thinking about making sure that the system as a whole is stood up. And I say a system because with your 51 fire stations, I know we're moving units in and out of wherever the call volume exist to make sure that we're supporting with the same equipment, the same training, the same trucks to make sure that we have the level of service that Palm Beach County Fire Rescue delivers from the north to the south and the east to the west. I know this is going to be controversial. I understand this. I think every leader has a space and time, and unfortunately, this is one of these things that came to a head with the talks of taxation cuts at the state level. I think with that, we understand that there could be more aggressive annexations occurring, and that's why we're before you. We are trying to meet with everybody that would meet with us that we are serving. We're not trying to jump over to municipalities that we do not serve. I do not think that is fair as the fire chief. But respectfully, if they want to meet with me, we are meeting with them. We have met with civic groups and whoever's reached out to us. It has been a long journey just in a matter of a couple weeks since this came about. But we are trying to get the message out there that the spirit of this is to preserve the system that serves you. I'm willing to take any questions that you may have.
Okay, thank you, Chief. Does the council have any comments or questions? Okay, all right. Well, thank you once again. Obviously, we've said this over and over again. We are more than satisfied with the quality of service. Each and every time that we have an opportunity to learn more and more about how you do what you do, we become more and more convinced that you all provide world-class service, and we are happy to benefit from that. And I would think, from my experience with conversations that we've had, not only us, but also on a larger scale, like with all 39 municipalities or representatives from at the League of Cities, while there may be exceptions, one-off kind of exceptions, the general interest in this is continuing the conversation to find the best possible way to maintain something that we cherish greatly, which is home rule. And anything that jeopardizes that typically gets a negative initial response. And the best that I can think of is to continue the conversation working through this thing. So we thank you for coming tonight. And like I said, we greatly appreciate, beyond words, the quality of the service that you all provide.
The honor is ours. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
And So the next presentation is Mr. Sergio Piedra, and he's going to be talking to us about wonderful things like tourism, economic development, vitality. I'll stop there and let you pick it up. Thank you. Welcome.
Thanks you for the intro. I'm not sure if the presentation's in, or did I do it correctly before I start? Oh, there we go. Again, my name is Sergio Piedra, Senior Director, Intergovernmental Affairs for Discover the Palm Beaches. The last 3 years or so, we've been doing a tourism roadshow, going across the county, different cities, villages, you name it, we've been there. We are very happy to come for the first time here at Royal Palm Beach. So Mr. Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of the council, village staff, we appreciate the time. Special shout out to Councilwoman Rondesky, who's somewhere out there, for helping set this up. One thing, I'll start here. We are Discover the Palm Beaches. We are the official tourism marketing corporation for the county. Our job, obviously, is to promote the county to visitors out there, but we are representing all 39 of our cities. I think the presentation looks a little funky there, but that's okay. Don't worry, sometimes our fonts get a little messed up there, but we'll manage. So we are under the Tourist Development Council. Some of our sister agencies, the Sports Commission, Film and TV Commission, Cultural Council, Environmental Resources, you may know them. And all of our funding comes through a 6% bed tax on overnight stays. Those are the special things that you might say. And we are just this past year, Destinations International, which is kind of a governing body of our organizations, gave us accreditation with distinction. So one of only a few in the country, in the world, to have that. So without further ado, let me bring out my colleague, and then you'll see me back here in a minute or so.
Thank you, Sergio. Thank you for having us here. I'm Gustav Weibel. I'm the Senior Vice President of Business Intelligence, Strategy, and Destination Development for Discover the Palm Beaches. And as Sergio said, we do a lot of these shows around the community, and I'm going to take the data that we have for Palm Beach County and drill it down and have the story for tourism in Royal Palm Beach. So where I started here is looking at, we're using a company called Placer AI, which uses geolocation in here, and looking at just the city limits for Royal Palm Beach, where some highly visited areas from a tourism perspective. So this is the restaurants here in the city of Royal Palm Beach, and then sort of a ranking here of visitation in there. And this is visitation from people outside of Royal Palm Beach. They could be Palm Beach County residents included in this, but they're not residents of Royal Palm Beach, coming in, enjoying restaurants, spending money at restaurants, and then contributing to the economy here. And when we look at hotels for Royal Palm Beach, there's really just the Royal Inn and the Pioneer Inn, but I kind of put the map out a little bit further out to see what type of other lodging availability is there to kind of serve this area here. So you have in the Wellington area, the Hampton Inn, the Fairfield Inn, and out in West Palm Beach, the western community there by the Turnpike and Okeechobee, you have a few also mid-scale hotels in there. And this collection of hotels, we have the performance in here through how all these that you saw on the map perform on an annual basis. So this is the last 12 months as of September, and then 25 and back to 2022. You can see that there has been sort of kind of similar performance levels in 22 to 24, but now in 25, we've had a good surge in occupancy there, so growing 6% just in those couple hotels right there. We've seen that same trend across the county. In terms of visitors, again, just looking at the city of Royal Palm Beach, 87,000 visitors annually. This is the kind of makeup of where those visitors are coming from. Now we're taking out the Palm Beach County residents in here. So these are only people from outside of the county visiting Palm Beach County and specifically Royal Palm Beach on their visit. 87,000 is just under 1% of total visitation. There's 9.9 million visitors that we had in 2024. When you look at these markets that they're coming from, it's a little bit different than what's going to the county. It's a lot of Florida markets, less of the fly markets, as we would call them, but New York is there as a key market for the county and also Royal Palm Beach. Demographics, so these are Experian Mosaic clusters, so there's sort of segments in here, and I have Royal Palm Beach in the orange, and then in yellow it's Palm Beach County. So you can see the difference in the demographics of someone visiting the county overall, and then Royal Palm Beach. So there's these two segments, Booming with Confidence and Suburban Style, that are the largest segments of visitors, and they're also more significant of the visitor population than visitor to Palm Beach County. And what are those segments? So this slide here kind of gives you some definition of that. So Booming with Confidence are retirees with high income, and Suburban Style are families with middle income. So a good mix of demographics in there from high to middle income and diversity. We do a survey of residents every single year about how they feel about tourism, and we ask what city they reside in. And so this sample here is of a couple years of aggregating the residents in there, so we can get a good read on what Royal Palm Beach residents feel about tourism. And you can see here that overwhelming, creating shopping, restaurants, and entertainment is something that they feel there. And you can see that with the unique restaurants and that you have in the city. And then the good majority have other strong feelings about, positive feelings about how tourism impacts the quality of life. We also ask about what we do as an organization that promotes tourism, and do you support that? You can see there even overwhelmingly there's support for what we do as supporting tourism, promoting tourism, developing events and attractions. So you can see that there's maybe a little bit of a disconnect on where they're feeling how it's benefiting them, but then they also believe in what we're doing in there. So there's something that we can do to help bridge that gap in perception. And now I'm going to hand it back over to Sergio to wrap it up.
Thank you, Gustav. And one of the things we kind of want to close here about is, and Gustav's stats kind of lead into this, is that destination stewardship is something, a new approach to this. We're not just a marketing agency trying to bring people from the outside. What we believe is that tourism also impacts the locals here at every level and every city across the whole county. And we believe that destination stewardship is the best way to kind of explain that, is that we share our home with visitors, but we also want to make sure there's a balance between tourism and resident, where everyone can enjoy the same quality of life, and that tourism does work for everyone. And that's the concept of destination stewardship, something we're going to be promoting this year and into the future. And look at it this way, is that we believe that talking to everyone doesn't work until it does. And that's why we started our Tourism Roadshow about 3 years ago, like I said, to build that trust with every organization out there, whether it's a city, a chamber, a nonprofit, councils, and so forth, that we are willing to kind of explain with tourism and the benefits of that to everyone, and make sure that all folks are on board and to feel comfortable with this year we're projected to have about 10 million plus visitors that come here to the county. So they're here, and they're here to spend money. So the last thing I kind of want to leave you with is this, is that, and this is a concept we've been talking about since last year, is that, or since we're all in this together, that the Palm Beach has become more than just a tourism destination. With the economic impact of tourism, it's igniting the local economy, and we have become a brand unto ourselves the last few years. So put it this way, you're part of that brand. You're part of our story, no matter where you are in this county. So we appreciate the opportunity to be here. We would love to come back again a year from now, or a year and a half, to kind of tell you what's new in tourism. But we're here to answer any questions if you need us. But if not, have a great holiday next week. But we are, as I said, we are here to open up a channel of communication and hear your voice.
Okay, great. Well, I'm going to turn to the council, and thank you very much for that presentation. I can see that Councilwoman Rodusky is itching to say something right now, so I'm going to turn the floor over to her. Jan?
Thank you, Mayor. Sergio and Gustav, I want to thank you very much for being here tonight and presenting this data. Do you mind sharing the PowerPoint slides? It's a lot to digest, and I'd love to really look at it a little bit longer.
Yes, we can, I'll share a PDF with you, make it easier to read, so.
That's terrific. And then just as an aside, as you discover, right, plans, future events and tourism events, making sure that the team has been to our cultural center with our grand ballroom as an opportunity to host events there and sort of mid-county location.
Okay, yes. One of the things we try to do is make sure we have an idea of all the tourism assets out there for business and leisure travel. So yes, we'll be happy to take a look at that and make sure we know about it and our team does as well.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Jan. Anybody else have any comments or questions? Well, I'll throw in a couple of thoughts. First of all, as people in Royal Palm and other places around the county talk about traffic, oh my gosh, and people moving here, oh my gosh, I remind them the reason they do that is because we live in paradise. And so every once in a while, it's good to take a deep breath, remind ourselves of how fortunate we are to live here, and enjoy that, as well as enjoy the benefits of folks coming to visit, as you've talked about a number of times. I think as we grow, as the county grows, which it's going to continue to do in ways that most of us can't really even envision, I believe we're going to see something more than just the coast being the attraction. And that's where I think lies a lot of opportunity for some visionary kind of work and maybe some conversations. Jan started it just a moment ago about the use of our facilities in the cultural center. If you haven't been over there, you got to see it. I mean, it's competitive with most that the hotel chains have to offer and that kind of thing. Then we have a smaller facility, which used to be our chambers right across from us right now in Cypress Hall. Spectacular, absolutely spectacular. Underutilized because it's not well known. And so we would invite you to help us get that word out there more. But also any ideas that you have for things that we might be able to do to become part of that experience that we're going through right now and enjoy more of the destination orientation kind of a thing. Clearly not losing our sense of who we are. Not so easy to do, but worth the challenge.
You're very eloquent in explaining tourism. We could use you for a PSA later. But yes, we'd be happy to and that's one of the reasons we come and do the roadshow is to open up that channel. If you have questions on it, look at your product and also understand, how you want to be promoted out there and how you want people to think of Royal Palm Beach. Because like I said, it's not just even the visitors, but a good segment out there is the residents who, like whether it's from Boca or Delray or Jupiter and Tequesta to the north, who maybe don't, just drive by 95 and head down to Atlantic Avenue from somewhere else or to the beach in Jupiter. And they, it's like we want folks to be a tourist in their own backyard.
Indeed. One of my favorite experiences is when people have never been to the cultural center actually go. They walk in and they say, "Oh my gosh, I never realized this is spectacular." Just as rewarding is the comment about visiting Commons Park, 170 beautiful acres like nobody else has got, and it's wonderful for us here living here. It's also great to invite others. It just makes us healthier and I think it opens up the opportunities in ways, again, that we can't imagine. So anything that you have that would help us move in that direction, would really appreciate it.
We will do that. Yes, sir.
Great. Well, thank you very much for your presentation. We appreciate your time.
Thank you.
And happy Thanksgiving. Okay, so let's see where we are on the agenda here. Oh, okay, one of our favorite agenda items, reports, council reports, village manager report, and the village attorney report. I'm saying this over and over again because I will get it right at some point in time here. So let's begin to my right with Councilwoman Sharps. Would you care to report this evening?
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Council, Clerk, attorneys, and the great and wonderful Reverend Dr. Ray, Village Manager, and everyone in the audience. It's just a wonderful time to be alive and be a councilwoman. I had the honor of being a part of our Veterans Day celebration. I also went over to Village Barbecue where they do a really great job of also honoring our veterans. You know, my dad, my papa, and my uncle were veterans, so I love that. Was over at the Green Market, got a chance to be a vendor there, but not really saw anything except for my smile and my wave. Me and Adam and Mayor and Mayor's wife, First Lady. Went on to Cypress Hall for the senior art sale and got talked into buying a handmade purse by one of our senior citizens out of a basket, so I can't hardly wait to use that. She's a good salesperson, and she should get her job at a car lot. Young at Heart lunch, breakfast, and the Farm City lunch yesterday. It's been busy, of course, and talking and conversing with our residents to try and make sure that we do everything that we can to make some headway in the issues that they see. And then just being here, being on call. Know that we're here for you. I'm definitely here for you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Great, thank you. Vice Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The only, I guess, report I would have, I think all of us did get an email from a resident about some issue with basically feeding of wildlife. It looked like ducks mainly, and I did get to speak with the resident. The resident, Ms. Kohler, is here tonight, so I don't want to steal her thunder. But, you know, after discussing the issue with her and looking at what she showed me, I think she had a valid point. And, you know, at this point, I mean, we'll hear from her. I know she has a comment card, but my inclination would be it might be a good idea for us to direct the village attorney to see about enacting an ordinance to prevent such things in the village, because from what I saw, I mean, not only does it look like a nuisance, it looks like it could be, you know, a hazard with excrement and other things going on with that number of birds congregating in one certain area. But that's my suggestion. I would suggest that maybe the council, because I'm the one, I did get to speak to her. I don't know if anyone else did, but after hearing from her, if two more agree with me, then maybe give direction to the village attorney to do that.
Can I suggest that since they're here tonight, we actually hear what they have to say before we take any action at this particular point?
Oh, yeah, no, I was saying wait to take any action until after we hear from her.
Yeah, fantastic.
Because I had the benefit of it, and it's not fair for no one else to have it, so. And that's all, Mr. Mayor.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Yes, Councilman Miller.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It's been a busy month since our last meeting. On October 31st, I completed our annual ethics training along with our mayor, vice mayor, and Councilwoman Sharps. Also on October 31st, I had the pleasure of attending the Young at Heart Halloween costume party. I had never attended one of those parties before, and let me tell you, I was shocked at how much fun they were having. Some of the outfits were really original, some were risque, very risque, but all had me laughing. Thanks to Shakira Thomas for leading that party. The very next day, on November 1st, I attended the Suits for Seniors graduation event led by State Representative Edmonds. One impressive group of young men and women, right? Councilwoman Sharps was with me. While many high schools were represented, I do feel strongly that our Royal Palm Beach High students had the best showing at the event. We also had some of our own Youth Civic Leadership Council members in attendance, which was great to see, Mr. Mayor. On November 8th, my wife Siri and I volunteered at a Mark Cuban AI boot camp. We were able to help high school students utilize different AI tools to build an actual business plan for an AI-focused business. It's really cool. On November 11th, I had the honor of attending the village's Veterans Day event with the rest of our council. It was a well-organized event and, in my opinion, appropriately honored our veterans living in the village and beyond. I want to thank our speakers, Navy Chief Tom Halleck, Marine Sergeant Jake Hampu, and our very own Mayor Hamara. I also want to recognize Western Academy for their wonderful chorus led by their music teacher, Mrs. Martinez. Last Saturday, I joined Councilwoman Sharps at the Green Market. We had a lot of fun. I met so many great vendors, and in talking with them, I learned that many had been coming to our Green Market for years and years. I tried to thank as many as I could. We also had the first annual craft fair put on by our Young at Heart group. That's where Councilwoman Sharps got her purse. You know, I thought the Halloween costumes were impressive, but their art is even better, I have to be honest. Again, I want to thank Shakira Thomas for everything she does with Young at Heart. It's great. I also want to acknowledge our Royal Palm Beach Historical Society, who also participated in the craft fair. Okay, earlier this year during our strategic planning session, I raised the idea of streamlining routine planning and zoning approvals. I'm glad to see that concept is now moving forward on tonight's regular agenda item number 6, Ordinance 1060. This ordinance gives our planning and zoning director the ability to approve simple site plan modifications administratively while keeping all major items under full council review. This change helps residents and businesses avoid unnecessary delays. I appreciate our village manager and staff for taking this idea and turning it into a well-crafted ordinance. For me, this represents the kind of work I committed to doing on council, removing hurdles and helping families and businesses save time and money. Now for my AI tip of the month, I always give one. This is about fact checking for my fellow council members. When you use AI to draft any kind of language or summarize information, you should always verify the facts. AI tools can sound very, very confident even when they're wrong. So quick cross-check with the original source or a trusted document or even a simple read-through helps prevent incorrect details from slipping into like your emails or official work. It keeps everything accurate and reliable. I'd like to close by sharing what I am thankful for this Thanksgiving. I am thankful for my family. I am thankful for my friends. I'm thankful for the turkeys I'll be deep frying. I am thankful for being a part of a Rockstar Village Council, and I am thankful I get to live in Royal Palm Beach. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Thank you for that. Councilwoman Brodusky, do you have anything you'd like to share with us?
Yes, thank you, Mayor, and good evening, everyone. I'm sorry I can't be with you tonight. I am in beautiful Salt Lake City, attending the National League Conference City Summit, and we are really talking about this conference theme is creating opportunities in a time of uncertainty. And so I've been participating in the Small Cities Council, the local infrastructure hub, and other sessions around economic development, workforce development, housing, public safety, transportation. And so when I return, I will have much to share with you about opportunities and possible steps we might be able to initiate and take as a village. So thank you very much.
Great, thank you. So I'm going to change the order a little bit so I don't forget to go to the village manager. I'm going to go to the village manager next.
Boy, I wish I had a report right now. No report, Mayor.
And the village attorney.
Also, unless you have anything for me, I have nothing to offer tonight other than my continuing thanks and Thanksgiving to have the privilege to sit in this chair.
Well, thank you for that, and we appreciate both of you all very, very much, and it is a good time of the year to be thankful. Well, I've got a couple of things, and I do want to follow up a little bit on the Veterans Day celebration, which I thought was a fantastic demonstration of a community coming together to celebrate, recognize, and appreciate those who have served in the armed forces in this country. We're very quick to say thank you for your service. We leave off the part about sacrifice, and some don't even know how much sacrifice families of service members actually experience. So if you get a chance to thank a service member, please don't miss that opportunity. And when I talk about sacrifice, a lot of people think, oh, you mean in combat and that. No, I mean being away from home this time of the year. I mean just being in foreign country. It's lonely, and that is a sacrifice that's very real, and everybody shares, no matter what their MOS might be or whether or not they're in combat. So don't hesitate to thank a veteran when you find one. I want to thank Mark Pulowski and Steve Pointer and the entire staff over at the Cultural Center for doing such a great job of putting this together, along with the American Legion, who is always very. We had the community band, and it wouldn't be the same without them. And by the way, since I've mentioned the community band, I want to invite you all to the holiday activity that is the community band's holiday concert on December 16th, which is a Tuesday at 7 p.m. over at the Cultural Center. And if you haven't been to one of these community band concerts, you're really missing out on something. These are all volunteers. They practice long hours and put together some really great shows, and their holiday show is something to be held. And I want to also say thank you to the guest speakers who came, because they shared their life experiences, which is very, very powerful in understanding what that sacrifice often looks like. We have some recognition of a number of our members of our staff that I think is remarkable. One of them is one that we've kind of done now for 35 consecutive years, actually. Our financial excellence is marked by a Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting. And this year's award from the GFOA, and I know you all know what that stands for, the Government Finance Officers Association. 35 consecutive years we've received this award for the our annual comprehensive financial report. That's a big deal, it really is. This year, for the very first time, we got an award for outstanding achievement in popular annual financial reporting. I bet you didn't know financial reporting could be popular. But even better than that, this version that was put together by our finance director, Sharon Almeida, is extraordinary. I mean, we talk about transparency. Transparency works especially well when you can understand what you're reading. And so many financial reports, I don't know if you all have that experience, aren't that way. She has done a remarkable job in preparing reports that are very meaningful, very useful for everybody. And so that is true transparency. So congratulations to Sharon and the finance team. Our Education Advisory Board met a week or so ago now, and they are fully engaged now and getting more and more engaged as members of our Education Advisory Board, actually visiting the campuses and spending time with principals and getting involved in events. And the reason that's important is not only to show the support and connection between the village in which they serve such a tremendous purpose of educating our kids, but also that they have, the members of the board, have firsthand knowledge. And so now they become very well-informed advocates for our schools, and I think that's making a huge difference as we go forward. As we do every meeting, we have a showcase for one of our schools, and this past Education Advisory Board meeting was Royal Palm Beach Elementary School, which is affectionately known as the happiest place on earth. And I will tell you, that's a well-earned title. And if you ever get a chance to go over there, you will find that out for yourself. So actually, they had a Veterans Day. It felt like Veterans Week, by the way, for those of us who are veterans, and I really appreciate that. The elementary school had a Veterans Day event, which was fantastic. I got to see it twice, because when they came to the Education Advisory Board, they did it again. And each and every time, it was fantastic. A lot of patriotism, a lot of pride. The kids really get it. And of course, the energy is always spectacular. Still on kind of an education theme, this is, I think, remarkable. Have you all ever heard of an award called the Thank a Teacher Award? Yeah. It's a pretty interesting thing. correct me if I've got it wrong, I think it's like once a month to one teacher in all of the Palm Beach County School District, which is the 10th largest in the nation, if I know correctly. So that's a big deal. That's a huge deal. Turns out that this month, Navy Chief Sergio Sandoval, the senior naval science instructor at Royal Palm Beach High School, was honored with that award. And it turns out that it's not just a certificate, that he also gets to be a star because they put him up on a video in school district website, but he also gets a $500 check. So it is a serious award, but probably most significant is here's an ROTC instructor being recognized by the education professionals we have in our school district. And so I think it's remarkable, and it's a testimony to the great job he does in not just teaching the academic side, and there are academics involved in junior ROTC, but also teaching and building leaders, and he does a great job of that. So congratulations to him, and it just makes us proud. It really does. And one last recognition is something I've entitled Note of Appreciation, and it actually turns out to be a note. It was a handwritten note that, just see, handwritten, was received, and it, I guess about a month ago. And the person who wrote it was a senior resident who participating in the Congregate Meals program at Royal Palm Beach Recreation Center. She wrote that 2 years ago, she was isolated and becoming depressed until a neighbor encouraged her to join. She described feeling enveloped in love and caring the moment that she arrived. She has built new friendships, regained social connections. She said she shared that many participants feel food secure for the very first time as a result of that program. She says the program has truly made a huge difference in her life. That's remarkable. She expressed not only heartfelt thanks for the program, but gratitude to program supervisor Shakira Thomas, we heard her name mentioned earlier this evening, and the staff and the volunteers, because it truly does take a village to do something like that. And of course, we couldn't do it without the cooperation and help of the Palm Beach County, and so we appreciate that. But this is a remarkable accomplishment, I think, and one that we all ought to be very proud of, that we have these kind of programs going on in Royal Palm Beach. So that concludes my report, and then allows us to move on to petitions. Are there any petitions to be presented to the council this evening?
No, Mayor.
And does anyone out here have a petition they'd like to present? All right, not seeing any, I'll close the floor to petitions, and then we'll move on to statements from the public on non-agenda items or consent agenda items. And I have two cards here. The first one is Ms. Judith Kohler. Would you like to come up to the podium and make sure the mic's on, if you would, please? And your name and address.
Yes. My name is Judith Kohler. I live at 138 Royal Pine Circle West in the Royal Pine Estates. And I'm here tonight because my neighbor has been feeding large flocks of Egyptian geese and Muscovy ducks, both of which are invasive species and leave huge amounts of feces.
Could you pull the mic down a little bit so we could
Stand
closer to you? Right, there we go. Thank you.
my driveway, the sidewalk, and I want to be sure that you know my complaint isn't about anyone who has a bird feeder for songbirds. This is an entirely different matter. And first of all, it's detrimental to the birds themselves. When you feed the wildlife, they don't learn how to forage for themselves. They become aggressive toward people. They attract predators, rats, seen those because the food's out there. And so when they do feed the birds, she actually harms them. Now, I did ask her twice, politely, truly. I said, please don't do this. And she said, and I pointed to all the feces in my yard. And she said, well, It's my yard, meaning her yard, and I can do what I want. And that was her answer, and she continues to feed them. She throws food out on the swale, and I'm going to give the clerk some photos. You can see there's 4 of them that I've taken. You can see the large flock of geese, which, by the way, land on the roof of her house and honk at 6 in the morning and at night. You can see pictures of the feces all over the yard. You can see that when I try to drive into my own driveway, I can't get in because the birds congregate in the driveway, and they're so used to humans that they won't move. So sometimes I feel like I'm going to have to park in the street, walk into my yard, and shoo them away. So you will see that these are taken from the front of my yard, and you will see her feeding them, and you'll see the feces too. So and you can keep those with my written record. One of the problems is that they're so aggressive and so used to humans that they hang around all the time. So when I go out to my mailbox, they come at me because they're waiting to be fed. When Fred is working in the yard or doing something, they come at him. We hose the driveway down 3 times a day. Unfortunately, when we go out at night and she has fed them and we come back, we don't have an opportunity to hose off all the feces. And consequently, we're parking in our garage and it's on our feces are on the tires and it's getting tracked into our house. So, into the garage. So it's an ongoing problem. And it's not just us, but it's also other people. We have a nice neighborhood, all ages. They walk their children. They walk their dogs. The kids ride trikes. They're walking through this if we're not out there 3 times a day hosing it down. So I also want to point out that, well, I'm almost 83. My balance is pretty good, but when these birds come at you, it's hard to keep your balance. And you could fall, and you could have a serious injury, even a fatality. And I want to mention that because last night, through some classes that I'm taking at the County Commission Criminal Justice Academy, it's a 12-week course. We were at the medical examiner's office last night touring the morgue, and she was giving us some information about the bodies that come in. And I think this is interesting. They get over 2,200 bodies that come in to identify what caused people's death. And one would think, oh, it's probably, natural death. No, the larger proportion of deaths are from falls. The largest, so out of 2,200, she said like 556 were from falls. So this woman is feeding these birds, causing all kinds of problems with that. And furthermore, I want to add a note from the CDC. The CDC says that the H5N1 outbreak has led to a new variant, which is the highly pathogenic avian influenza. And so there's avian flu now. So look at the pictures, you'll see what I'm talking about. I noticed, of course, I looked up, I've talked to many people at Fish and Wildlife and the county health and so forth. And of course, I looked at our ordinances, and I see that our chapter 5.2 states that our village is a bird sanctuary. And 5.10 says it's unlawful to keep birds that create noise, obnoxious odor, or any unsanitary conditions which may reasonably be considered a nuisance adjoining nearby residences. And in Florida, bird sanctuaries, for the most part, it's illegal to feed the animals within them, and people can get cited and fined. So I'm asking you to look at that ordinance, strengthen it, to be very clear, include some severe financial penalties, and as a bird sanctuary city, which you already are, to post that information around town so people know about it and that it's illegal to feed these flocks of birds. And this is for both the health and safety of your residents and the birds themselves. So with that, I just want to reiterate and thank you for listening to me. And that, again, it's not about people's bird feeders for songbirds. It's about these huge flocks, and you can see the evidence there of what's going on. So do you have questions?
So
Want to come over?
I think what we'll do is, let me just ask our village manager if he would just for a moment speak to briefly the initiative that we have underway with regard to that ordinance.
Yeah, our community development director, Rob Hill, and our attorney we've seen this complaint. We've talked to the council about it. First looking, what have we done over the years and when this problem comes up? And it has come up before, and we do trap the ducks and take them out of town. We do that pretty regularly because they will, when one person feeds them, it'll get more and more and more, and it is that nuisance. So that's typically how we've dealt with it over the years. And when Rob was looking through the ordinance, we don't have any prohibition to feeding them. I know they looked into that, and they found several cities that do have ordinances that prohibit the feeding of them. It comes with a citation, the way that we're kind of looking at it, and a citation, because it can be dealt with immediately. So either a resident can sign an affidavit saying that they witnessed their neighbor feeding them, and we can issue the citation, or if our code enforcement witnesses the person feeding them, give the person directly a citation at that time. I think our citations now are in the $30 range, I believe, 25, 35?
They range, but you can set it, it's set by resolution of the council, so that there could be a determination to set it at whatever
So
the council
bringing
wants.
something back to council, based on council direction to bring something, we can bring something back to you fairly quickly.
Okay, well, that
We do
said,
not have an ordinance now that prohibits feeding them.
Okay, with that said, I don't know if we need to put it to a vote or just simply the consensus of the
The
council.
consensus is sufficient. There's an ordinance drafted based on what Mr. Hill received in terms of the complaint, I think, from this same resident. So it's drafted. Consensus is fine, and we'll bring it back.
Okay. Rob, did you want to add anything in particular, or you?
I don't really have anything to add. I just want to say good evening, Ms. Kohler. Nice to see you. Your statements are very accurate. They do kind of illustrate the hazards of this, and we've listened, and we're working on some drafts to possible solutions to this with our manager and our attorney. So we're listening, and I think we're going to make some improvement that'll help you. And you're not alone. There are other areas that this has become more frequent, and so we're going to try to address it. Thank you.
So without objection, then we'll direct the staff to complete the work on the ordinance and bring it back to us as quickly as we possibly can.
And I can add one thing to Ms. Kohler, your information, your knowledge, your energy, going out and going to classes and doing that, you always bring something to the table. And on that fall thing, it's the number one cause of people over the age of 60.
Well, I'm almost 83, and if you want to see me back, you don't want to see me back.
I mean, I think that's pretty. I think that's pretty young. That is a real problem.
I hope that comes with a fine.
Well, that's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
We were just talking about the averages between $30 and $25, but we can talk about something that perhaps is more significant to be able to make sure the action is taken quickly.
I, of course, have looked at cities in Florida that have that, and Pembroke Pines,
Right.
Key West, Pompano Beach, they all have ordinances.
That's one of
and
the.
the fine increases. You know, you go out and you tell them,
There you
don't
go.
do this, and then after that, you start hitting them with the fine every single time. And I can take a picture every single day if you need that evidence.
Well, thank you so much for bringing that to our attention. Yes, did you?
Mr. Mayor, I'm wondering for the village manager, building an ordinance takes like a month. Is there anything we could do for Mrs. Kohler right now? You mentioned like trapping the ducks.
Well, we can do that, but Mr. Hill and our attorney have already drafted something up and already taken a look at the ordinance, so we can probably get you some. Well, we have to advertise it.
So first reading could come back as early as your next December meeting.
Right.
Okay. And that would take another month beyond that to finish it.
Someone can go out and tell her, stop this.
I think our captain is back there, and
Someone go and tell her to stop feeding the birds, is what she said.
Right now, it's determined that just the act of feeding the birds isn't actually keeping the bird in possession, so there's nothing in place right now that'll let us to go out and alter this behavior. But we have a pretty good draft put together. We're going to review it with staff as best we can. We're going to bring it back in front of the council. There'll be other public meetings, and we can address it then.
Mr. Mayor, I'm sorry, I want to push my point again. Agreed, I want to do the ordinance. That's a great idea, but that's going to take at least a month, and I don't want Ms. Kohler falling in that month. Okay, because that could happen with all those ducks still being fed. So I don't, is there something we can do now for Mrs. Kohler, like right now?
Well, in all fairness, Councilman Miller, we're moving very quickly on this. We bypassed our strategic plan operation, and we've moved this up ahead, and our attorney's been very, very swift in bringing this forward. I will consult with MIDI, but I think right now, like I said, the ordinance that is in place is just short of going out and stopping somebody from feeding in that regard at this point. We'll do our best, and we will certainly, we'll take on an education role with these individuals and let them know that we are looking towards that. Maybe that will help alter some of this behavior. We can certainly do that. But really, until we get something approved by the council and in place, we won't have the actual tools to bring somebody forward, and somebody that's reluctant to change their behavior would have to be coached through our code enforcement.
I'm sorry, Mr. Mayor.
Who to find?
So please be careful out there.
Yeah,
Well,
definitely.
she has a liability. I mean, the reality is if someone falls in your yard, you're
Okay.
liable.
So I think we pretty well talked through most of it. If you have something else that you'd like to offer.
Our village manager mentioned trapping the birds and releasing them. That's all I'm asking about. Are we able to do that in this instance?
Public property.
We can try to capture them off the public property, yeah.
Okay, thank you. That's all I'm asking. I love the ordinance. Yes, I understand we have to wait for that. So thank you, Mr. Manager.
Thank you very much for this.
Thank you.
One last comment. I think Mr. Hill is absolutely right. We are where we are at this situation. However, nothing to stop us from going out and asking her and, relaying the facts to her. And yeah, we can enforce it at this point because the ordinance isn't in there, but maybe let her know it's coming so that it's not gonna be going on forever. And maybe at that point, the bell will go off and it'll stop. But I do appreciate very much, Mr. Hill, your suggestion, because I think that's a great idea, and thank you.
Well, I can hear the consensus, and we'll certainly act in that regard. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Appreciate that.
Careful, don't you?
Mayor,
Yes. Is that you, Jan?
Is that Jan?
Yes.
yeah, sorry. I'd like to add a consideration to include the cost of pressure washing the sidewalks to the citation. Certainly, it's going to cost more than $25 or $30 to have somebody from Public Works clean off the sidewalk.
It's not our responsibility.
You have a comment?
We'll have to, Jan, thank you for that comment. We'll have to look at how far we can go there. I don't think that the fine amount has been determined here. And I just, so the council's aware, many of your animal violations currently are by offense. So first offense is one number, second offense is a higher number, third offense is a higher number, and any after that is even higher. So, but to Councilwoman Radusky's point, we can look at how far we can go. I think that goes to the abatement, and there'd actually have to be nuisance. So we can see if we can get there, but we'll certainly review that as well.
Okay, thank you. I don't want to keep going on this, but I will say one other thing. So I wonder if the feeding takes place on Mrs. Kohler's property. That sounds like it's trespassing if that person is actually doing that on that property.
Well, in the past, it's generally, the feeding probably takes place on your neighbor's property, but the birds and the activity are widespread to adjacent properties, 2 or 3 over, across the roads, vehicles. I think we understand the complexity of it,
right.
but, and I will, you would be within your right to, to maintain your property. And even, but I don't believe you want to do that. I think we can do this through the steps that we're taking now, Mr. Mayor.
most important thing is to do this sooner rather than later, and we know that it just takes time to get the ordinance in place, and just showing up and advising and educating and encouraging the right kind of behavior, I think, was the message here out of all of this stuff. So thank you for that. I think that's going to be good. Great. Thank you. And thank you for coming this evening. We appreciate that. I have another card from David Sager. Sager? Come on up. I don't know that it matters which side, but so long as you turn on your mic and tell us who you are.
Am I on? We're good?
Is it green on?
Yeah, the green light's on.
Go ahead.
Okay, yeah, my name's Dave Sager. I live at 10559 Misty Lane in Counterpoint Estates. I spoke with the engineering department regarding the queuing up of our roads. They came through and redid all the intersections, and they left it. And so now we have tar in the intersections, but Belvedere Road itself is not paved. So it's creating a driving hazard because all the striping that they put down was just tape, and all the tape is gone. I spoke with the engineering department. They said that milling was supposed to begin on November 10th and that the paving was to be completed on November 18th. Here we are, November 20th, and it still looks the same as when they completed it almost a month ago. So that's where I was with the village. He told me to contact the county because they're waiting on a method of travel permit, an MOT permit. However, when I called the county office up, they said the MOT is not in place or is not needed because it's a private road. Belvedere Road, when it crosses from State Road 7 into Counterpoint, becomes a private road. It's not a county road. So the county said that they don't have any jurisdiction past State Road 7, west of State Road 7. So we're just trying to get a date of when construction is going to be completed on this project, because right now the crosswalks are all impassable. There's no striping on the crosswalks that are crossing the streets, and there's no, and the driving is becoming a hazard.
Okay, I understand. Do we have any updated information on that?
I know we have updated information on the internet. This is the first I'm hearing about this complaint. I do not know anything about where we're at. I know that we have a $10 million milling and resurfacing project going on out there, and it is disruptive when they're in the process of doing it. It sounds like I think Chris is online if he has any information. Chris, do you have any information on this?
I do. The county permit has been issued. It was required because the maintenance of traffic goes on to State Road 7 and Belvedere to the east of State Road 7. So there was a county permit that was required. We have obtained that. We did approve the MOT plan on our end, and it should be completed within a month. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
so you're saying in a month from today or a month when the permit comes through?
No, the permit is in place, and it is scheduled.
All right, can you give us a start date for the milling?
I offhand, I can't give you an exact one. That's what I'm
You can call
telling
the
you.
office
It's gonna be done
tomorrow.
within a month. If you want to give me a call tomorrow, I can give you the scheduled date. But keep in mind, those are scheduled dates. Rain and other factors can impact the schedule. But I am comfortable that it will be completed within a month.
Okay, this is as long as we have a time frame, because right now we're just,
Right.
it's just there. I mean, they came, they chewed it up, they put down some tar, put down some tape, and then they left, and we haven't seen them in almost 3 months.
Okay, so Chris, if you could follow up, I have Mr. Sager's telephone number, and I'm sure he would appreciate any more definitive date. Understanding construction is construction, and it can be affected by things like rain,
Exactly,
weather,
but
and that
when you
kind of
see
stuff.
equipment show up and then you're thinking, okay, they're gonna just knock it out, get it done, and then all of a sudden they just do spots and then leave, it's like, well, that was pointless. And then if you look at the streets by Commons Park, they've already been milled and paved and are brand new roads, and our roads are kind of like the redhead, the stepchild of Counterpoint,
Okay.
you know, so.
His was needed the county permit. That was what made it different than all the other roads that we're doing.
Right.
That we
And-
couldn't just start and finish.
Yeah, anytime we get into multiple government entities being involved in it, almost certainly going to be a delay. It's going to be less straightforward than something that's totally under our control. Having said that, you got a commitment before the end of the month under reasonable circumstances and a follow-up with more specific information if that's.
Okay, well, I'll be at the next meeting if our roads are still the same, so you'll hear the same spiel again, so.
So I look forward to seeing you at the next meeting saying, thank you very much. You guys did a great job and got it completed.
Very good. I mean, I'll give thank you cards to everybody, and it'll probably be around Christmas, and we can have gifts. So.
We appreciate that. Thank you for showing up. Eyes and ears out in the community.
No, thank you for taking the time and for listening. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you again. Okay, so then we are now at consent agenda time. So I will look to our clerk and ask her to go ahead and read the consent agenda items into the record, please.
Yes, Mayor, will. Thank you. Number 1, approval of the minutes of the council regular meeting of October 16th, 2025. 2, approval of a special event permit for the Village of Royal Palm Beach to hold a winter festival at Royal Palm Beach Commons Park on Saturday, December 6, 2025, from 2 p.m. to 9 p.m. 3, approval and authorization for the village manager to enter into the second amendment to agreement with ET Pressure Cleaning, LLC, to add additional pressure cleaning and renew the agreement for the first renewal term commencing March 1st, 2026 and ending February 28th, 2027. 4, approval to purchase fireworks and pyrotechnician services from Zambelli Fireworks Manufacturing Company for the annual displays at Winterfest and the July 4th celebration being held at Royal Palm Beach Commons Park in the amount of $57,650, with such purchase being in accordance with procurement guidelines set forth in Village Code Section 10-98D. 5, Public Works is requesting ratification of council action on consent agenda item C10 at its regular meeting on August 21st, 2025, regarding approval of the third addendum to agreement for roadway grounds maintenance service with Epicurean Park LLC, doing business as Next Era Services, to correct a Scrivener's error in the agenda item summary. 6, adoption of resolution number 2539, a resolution of the Village Council of the Village of Royal Palm Beach, Florida, approving and authorizing, in accordance with established policy, the making of a budget amendment for Fund 001, 105, 407, and 408 in the fiscal year 2024-2025 budget. Said amendment represents the year-end budget adjustment and appropriates $122,178 from restricted fund balance for police education, Fund 105, transfers out, and interest earnings revenue to increase amounts budgeted in the police, stormwater, and transfers in. 7, adoption of resolution number 2540, a resolution of the Village Council of the Village of Royal Palm Beach, Florida, approving and authorizing, in accordance with established policy, the making of a budget amendment for Fund 303 in the fiscal year 2025-2026 budget. Said amendment to transfer a total of $7,500 from Fund 304 undesignated fund balance to David Farber Building Renovations, EN 2401. 8, approval and authorization for the village manager to enter into the first addendum to agreement with Brightview Landscape Services Incorporated to renew the agreement for park maintenance services for the first of 2 available one-year renewal terms commencing December 1st, 2025 and ending November 30th, 2026. 9, approval and authorization for the mayor to execute the consent to assignment of lease agreement for village-owned property in order to assign the current lease agreement with Above and Beyond Preschool LLC to Camellia Drive Holdings LLC in accordance with Section 6 of the original lease agreement. 10, approval and authorization for the village manager to enter into an independent contractors agreement with Early Childhood Adventures LLC for the provision of early childhood educational programs at the Recreation Center to the community at large. And 11, approval and authorization for the village manager to execute change order 6 with R&D Paving LLC to install 1,305 linear feet of underdrain along Bilbao Street and Las Palmas Street as part of the PW 2204 La Mancha Underdrain Project. The cost for these services shall not exceed $231,660.90.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. I would look for a motion to approve the consent agenda, or if you wish to pull any item, let me know what that is.
Motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Not hearing any opposed. The consent agenda passes unanimously. Thank you very much. And we move on to the regular agenda. The first regular agenda item is a public hearing to consider application number 25-092, parent MCIC, an application by Wyndham Village Homeowners Association, Inc., and an adoption, of resolution number 25-28. The applicant is seeking modification to a council-imposed condition, MCIC, in order to amend previously imposed condition 27 of resolution number 01-04 to modify the on-center OC distance required from four street trees for the Wyndham Village property located east of Crestwood Boulevard on Oakwater Drive. So this is a quasi-judicial item.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Can you state your name for the council, please, sir?
Yes, my name is Pierre Rodriguez.
Thank you. Can you raise your right hand for me? I'll swear you in. I'll swear in staff as well. Do you both swear affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
And I'll turn back to the council for any ex parte disclosures on this item.
I've had conversations with Mr. Rodriguez.
Honorable Mayor.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for...
So I'm going to turn to our planning staff and ask Mr. O'Brien to give his presentation.
Thank you, Mayor. This request is an application by Wyndham Village Homeowners Association for the common areas, which are highlighted in blue on this slide. The applicant is requesting a modification to a council-imposed condition to amend previously approved condition 27 of resolution 0104, which states the standards contained within the architectural guidelines for Grand Oaks dated January 13th, 1999, a copy of which is on file at the Office of the Planning and Zoning Department. The reference architectural guidelines for Grand Oaks dated January 1999 requires trees to line the streets within Wyndham Village and be spaced no more than 40 feet on center. The applicant is requesting a modification to the condition previously imposed to allow for these street trees to be planted on each side of the road and spaced no more than 50 feet on center, and at the locations depicted on the street plan submitted as part of this application, and that is what is illustrated here. And as you can see in red, those red dots do depict trees that the applicant is proposing to plant. The applicant contends that the changes to condition number 27 of resolution number 0104 is necessary due to its site constraints and neighborhood infrastructure such as driveways, fire hydrants, water and sewer lines. These site constraints don't allow for a maximum spacing of 40 feet, and the increase to no more than 55 feet would allow for the planting of the street trees without damaging the infrastructure of the neighborhood. Village staff recommends Village Council to consider and make final decision to grant, deny, or grant with conditions application 25092 and resolution 2528. And I'll turn the floor back over to you, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. O'Brien. Would the applicant care to make any comments?
Yes, I sent in a presentation. I don't know. I can't find it here.
It should be on the desktop.
Just wanted to provide some pictures so that way you could see, pictures are worth 1,000 words, right?
Right.
Maybe on their PowerPoint.
Yeah.
There you go.
Is that the one?
That's it. Thank you. Again, thank you all for giving me the opportunity to come in and present on behalf of the Homeowners Association. I'm on the board and appreciate all of your work. let me give you the case for modification. The issue is that if you take a look at this picture, right where this fire hydrant was, there was a tree planted there before. Unfortunately, because of the root growth and no root barriers put in by the builder, it began to damage and destroy and grow all the way around. Going to continue. Here's yet another picture of another fire hydrant right next to the building, right? And the sidewalk. Concrete restoration has become an absolute $20,000 to $25,000 a year budget for us, particularly in the areas where infrastructure is involved. I'm going to go to the next picture. Here's a prime example where the 40-foot policy doesn't work. You see this tree here. Look at the median here. If you can see my arrow, that median right there has less than 3 feet. There was a tree here. If you were to measure from this side, from this driveway, across this driveway here and that driveway there, the tree would be somewhere in this driveway or that driveway at 40 feet or less. And you cannot fit a tree here, nor in this green spot. And let's take a look here better. Look at that green spot there. You can't put a tree there. Doesn't fit, can't be a hardwood. Could we put a crepe myrtle there, something different? And what we're saying is we're willing to replant the same amount of trees that we took down, but we can't place them back in the same places. If you take a look here, the tree that was here already damaged not only the sidewalk, which you can see this is completely new poured sidewalk, but it also damaged the drain field. So the drain field had to be replaced, and so did the apron for this driveway, for this house. If I go back, again, more fire hydrants, trees placement. Again, there's the apron that we had to replace for that house, along with the brick pavers that needed to be redone. I'm going to go further, yet another one. Yet another one here, the tree was here, water mains, and another fire hydrant. Here's a main water shutoff with a tree that was planted here. And if you take a look from this driveway to that driveway, there's not 40 feet. So what we're asking for is your kindness and understanding that we want to plant, we want to make it look beautiful, we want to make it look right, but unfortunately we can't adhere to the rules that you have set back in 1999. The builder didn't adhere to those rules. When we plant these new hardwoods, which we're going to go with live oaks, which is on the approved list of the village, we will make sure that the root barriers are there and properly installed, and that we will make sure that everything is done the right way so that we don't have the issue of infrastructure being impacted, and that we won't have the issue of having to have the ADA compliance of sidewalks having to be completely grinded on a continuous basis. And believe me, I love the canopy and we want to do it right. So we're going to make sure that we not only plant, but that we keep it up and that we provide the proper. So we're just asking for you to give us an opportunity to do this, and we're asking for this variance.
Okay, all right, thank you. So if we approve the application, that will give you what you need to be able to replace the trees as designated. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay.
And we have the
Does
budget
council-
already in place to get started quickly and rapidly.
The council have any questions or comments? Yes, Mr. Mayor. Vice Mayor.
So basically what I'm hearing is we approved a condition way back when and stuff was put in, but unfortunately they didn't plan right, or they didn't expect the trees to get too big, and it's really causing a problem and tearing up your infrastructure, which is costing you guys a lot more money and being, we all want the trees, but it's undermining
put 'em
the
in the same
integrity of
spot.
your neighborhood. So this would remedy that situation while keeping the trees that we all want. It's just giving you more space so you can put it, because a lot of this stuff, I mean, it just amazed me. So many of these things they were putting close to fire hydrants that just looking at it seems ridiculous. But as long as this will alleviate the problems you're having and not make you have to recur with these costs.
No, it would alleviate the problem, and we're going to have a long-term solution, making sure that if, God forbid, we have another hurricane or something like that, we would replace them with live oaks. We would actually put the barriers, the root barriers, that were never installed.
Okay.
Okay, any other questions? Comments? If not, I will look for a motion to approve regular agenda item number 1.
Take public
I'm sorry.
comment. Thank you, sir.
Yes,
Sorry to
please.
interrupt.
Did you need to do something?
Yes, could we take public comment before you entertain a
I'm
motion?
sorry. Thank you. Yep. You got me all caught up in this, trying to solve this problem. So I'll open the floor to public comment. Do we have any cards?
No, Mayor.
Do we have any hands raised, Mr. Manager?
No, Mayor.
Anyone in the audience care to comment? Not seeing any now, I'll come back to the council once again and ask for a motion and a second.
Offer a motion for item number 1 to be approved as read.
Second.
I have a motion. I have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Not hearing any opposed. It's passed unanimously.
Thank you so much. I wish everyone here a happy and wonderful Thanksgiving,
Thank
full of
you,
blessings,
too.
okay?
Thank you for
for all you guys do every day.
We appreciate that.
Thank you.
Regular agenda item number 2. Public hearing to consider application number 25-127SE, an application by Jamie Diaz of Dynamite Dog Training on behalf of owner Yellowbird International Corporation, and adoption of a resolution number 25-36 confirming council action. The applicant is requesting special exception use approval to allow for a pet training facility within the commercial general CGE zoning district for a property located at 601-650 Royal Palm Beach Boulevard, Suites 500 to 503. And this again is a quasi-judicial.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Could you state your name for the council, please?
Jamie Diaz.
Thank you. Could you raise your right hand for me and I'll swear you in? Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you, and I'll turn back to the council for any ex parte disclosures.
The staff.
Village manager.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So I will turn to Mr. O'Brien for a presentation on this matter.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is a special exception. We did have an ordinance that was just recently passed to allow this type of a use for this specific applicant. So I'm going to be brief. This is the criteria for approving special exceptions. I can read through these if you'd like, or I could just skip them. The Planning and Zoning Commission considered this application at a special Planning and Zoning Commission meeting on November 17th and recommended approval by a vote of 5-0. That special meeting was to get the meeting outside of the Thanksgiving week before this council in order to accommodate this applicant here. Staff is recommending approval or recommending Village Council consider and make final decision to grant or deny with conditions this application. And with that, Mayor, I'll turn the floor back over to you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. O'Brien. Would the applicant care to add anything?
Nope, I'm good.
Okay. So, public comment. Yes. Do we have any cards
No, Mayor.
raised? I'll take that as a no. No hands raised, right? And anyone in the audience care to comment on this agenda item? Not seeing any, I'll turn to the council. Any questions or comments? If not, I will entertain a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve regular agenda item R2.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? I hear no opposed. It passes unanimously. Congratulations.
Thank you. Nice seeing everyone. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving to you too.
Good luck.
Yes. Regular agenda item number 3, public hearing to consider variance application number 25-066 SVAR, an application by Go Permit on behalf of TT of of North Royal Palm, Inc., requesting sign variances for Section 20-95C to allow for a cabinet sign of 110.22 square feet, where Village Code limits to a maximum of 10 square feet, a variance of 100.22 square feet, and a variance from Section 20-95A to allow for a total of 4 wall signs on the front or south side facade of a building where Village Code limits to a maximum of 3 wall signs, a variance of 1 wall sign for a property located at 9405 Southern Boulevard. This, again, is a quasi-judicial item.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, thank you. Could you state your name for the council, please?
Jennifer Ronneberger.
Thank you. Raise your right hand. You know the drill. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Thank you. And I'll turn back to the council for any ex parte disclosures on this item.
Just staff, village manager.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to turn to Mr. O'Brien then for the presentation.
Great. Thank you, Mayor. The site is outlined here in blue on this slide, and the applicant is requesting a sign variance from Village Code of Ordinance at Section 2095E to allow for a larger cabinet sign of 110.22 square feet, where Village Code limits it to a maximum of 10 square feet, a variance of 100.22 square feet, and a variance from Section 2095A to allow for 1 additional wall sign on the front south facade of the building for a total of 4 wall signs, where Village Code limits to a maximum of 3 wall signs. Village Code Section 2632 F6 allows the Village Council to grant variances to the code when special conditions and circumstances exist which are peculiar to the land, structure, and building involved, does not result from the actions of the applicant, will not confer on the applicant any special privileges. A literal interpretation of the provisions of this division would deprive the applicant rights commonly enjoyed by other properties. That the variance granted is the minimum variance that will make possible reasonable use of the land, building, or structure, will be in harmony with the general intent purpose of this division, will not be injurious to the area involved or detrimental to the public welfare. This slide illustrates the proposed location of the cabinet sign here on the front of the building and the wall sign here on this building. This slide here illustrates the cabinet sign that they have currently, which they did receive a sign variance from, but not to the extent of 100.22 square feet. I think it was more in the range of maybe 22 square feet. The applicant contends the dealership is located in a high-traffic arterial corridor and operates under strict national brand standards. The Nissan tablet logo represents a required corporate identity element that is separate from textual signage. Unlike typical sign tenant buildings, automobile dealerships rely heavily on logo recognition due to their nature of brand-specific customer targeting. These conditions are unique to auto dealerships and do not apply to general commercial uses in the same zoning district. So as you can see here on this facade here, where the sign will now take up a much larger portion of the building, where here, so if you look here to here is what you're seeing in gray here. So then it'll become much lower on the building. The Planning and Zoning Commission considered the application on October 28th, 2025, and recommended approval by a vote of 3-2, with Commissioners Leland and Alba dissenting. With that, Mayor, I'll turn the floor over to you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. We appreciate that. And so I will turn to the applicant and ask if you have any comments.
I do. I'd like to say something and then open it up for questions, if that would be okay.
Okay. All right.
I'm here
great.
tonight requesting, ready?
Yep. All right.
Well, I want to read something. I'm here tonight requesting exterior signage for Nissan on Southern Boulevard. This request is due to the recent building renovations that the dealership has just completed. Our request, as Bradford said, is only for 2 signs. The first is our iconic Nissan logo, which will be installed on the front facade. And the second is simply a directional sign over the service entrance for the bay doors to direct customers accordingly to that area. The Nissan logo, do you want me to wait? I can wait. Would you like me to wait? I just saw you speak. I just said, do you want me to wait? I can wait. Okay, I'll just keep going. The Nissan logo has been redesigned and is now our time to bring the logo to the Village of Royal Palm Beach.
Excuse me, I hate to interrupt you, but
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you to slow down,
Okay,
speak more directly into the mic.
Okay.
Because we really don't want to miss what you're saying.
okay.
Okay?
I thank you. That's fine.
All right,
Thank you for
thank you.
telling me. Mhm. The Nissan logo has been redesigned and is now our time to bring the logo to the Village of Royal Palm Beach. Our logo is constructed a high-end material and is visible throughout all of Palm Beach County. I'm sure that you guys have seen this. It is in Delray Beach, West Palm. The new logo is everywhere. The reason why we're asking for this today is because our building just went through major renovations. With that, to have the facade redone for our logo to be on the front of the building. So our new logo, the reason why we're doing this, it comes alive and it pivots to the future while staying proudly connected to the heritage and the tradition that Nissan is known for. So I'd like to answer any questions anyone has.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
Thank you. I'm going to open it up for public comment.
No,
Do we have
Mayor.
any cards? We have no cards. Do we have any hands raised? No, Mayor. Anyone in the audience care to comment? Come on down. Once again, if you identify yourself with your
The problem I have with this is what's preventing other businesses, say along Belvedere Road, to jump on this variance and say, well, they got a big sign, I want a big sign. Now you're looking at nothing but billboards and signs all the way from Belvedere down to West Palm Beach. I mean, do we really need bigger signs to advertise a car dealership? I mean, if a mom and pop dealership pops up and they want to put up a 100-foot sign, I think that's going to create a problem because they're going to be in here going, Nissan did it, you approved it, and now you're going to open up a can of worms.
Right.
And I mean, not that I'm against Nissan or anything, but I'm against the sign. I mean, it just seems like it's too big for what they're asking.
Okay.
That's just my opinion.
All right, thank you. Appreciate that input. All right, so I'm now going to turn to then the council for any questions or comments. Vice Mayor?
So my understanding is the sign that it is now, it's already over double what the code allows, correct?
We're here because the cabinet sign, the allowance for the village code is 10 square feet.
And the current
That's-
one is 20-something square feet.
The current sign is no longer there because the building went through renovations, so the
Okay.
facade has been renovated.
But it was 20-something square feet.
I don't have the exact number, but yes, it was much lower than that. I don't have that exact number
Yeah, it's 29.16 was the variance.
So it's almost 3 times.
back
So
then.
it's already bigger than what the village code allowed, which was 10, and now we're going from 10 to 29 to a request for 100, correct? I got that right?
That's correct, but may I say?
Okay,
the-
sure.
May I respond?
Go ahead
Oh.
and explain, absolutely.
It's just that we are within our square footage. The issue here is just that the sign type is what the
Right.
issue here is. So it's not that our square footage for the building itself is acceptable per village code. It's just the sign type.
Right. And we've had the issues with the cabinet signs over the years. Your application on number 2, I'm a little intrigued with because it says, special conditions and circumstances that do not result from the actions of the applicant. And your response is, well, the additional logo sign is dictated by national branding requirements issued by Nissan Corporate and not your discretionary action. But then in the next sentence, it says, the dealership, you, contractually obligated yourself to comply to these standards. So I'm kind of trying to understand how you can enter into a contractual relationship with the national brand saying, okay, we're going to do things that are going to violate the code here in our local municipality.
Unfortunately, that is the brand standard, and the brand standard is throughout every jurisdiction, so you don't really know what the jurisdiction standards are everywhere unless you go into that. So their brand standards that, I'm
But
sorry?
there's a code, you're saying here that you have a contract requiring you to violate Royal Palm Beach's code. Your contract with the National says to violate Royal Palm Beach's code.
It doesn't say to violate it, it says to come here and ask, because every dealership, we are over 200 feet away from Southern Boulevard. You know, we are very set back. It's not that we're doing anything that is not done anywhere else, and I understand that things are different here at the Village. However, this is their brand standard. This is their national logo that they roll out all over the country. So it's not that we're doing anything, we're not violating, we're here asking.
Right, you're here asking, but isn't this something that you caused? It's not something like the gentleman who was here before. You know, we have a condition of improvement and the trees are tearing up everything here. We don't have a situation like that. To me, you've got a situation where you've bound yourself to a contract and you're using that as an excuse or your exception. I qualify for this exception, and it's not my actions, but to me, explain to me why it's not your actions. You entered into the contract to do this, so why is it not your actions that's causing this? We need a bigger sign now. Why is not your choice?
We also updated our facade, right? We put a lot of money into the building.
But you did.
I'm sorry?
You did it voluntarily.
Well, the dealership did because it needed to be updated. The building hasn't been renovated, and in today, you have to have nicer things to have people come in, and that's what everybody wants. Everybody wants a newer building, and that's what we did. We put the money in, so with that, we had to remove our signage because we had to have a new facade. The dealership, yes, does dictate what we're doing, and they are asking for us to do that.
Okay, but they're asking because the way I read this is you somehow have to, and what I'm hearing now is, yeah, this is what you're supposed to do and this is what you want to do, but this isn't what you have to do.
We have to ask for the Nissan's brand standards, and that's what they're asking
you're doing
for.
here today. Okay, thank you, sir. I'm finished, Mr.
Okay, thank you. Yes.
So, help me to understand. I think you asked for a variance at the very beginning that you got?
We asked for a variance in 2008. That was granted, yes. And we had to remove those exterior signs that were up there until recently, until we did a facade renovation on our building. Those signs had to come down. We're doing new branding, and we're putting up new exterior signage, which is why we're here.
Okay, so I guess my question is similar to the Vice Mayor. I understand what you're saying, but you did know that there was a limit before you took that sign down, right? You were aware? That's a yes or no?
Where what, that the code was 10 square feet?
Yes.
Yes, but this is our branding requirement, and we're here asking.
That's all I wanted to know. Okay, thank you.
All right. Any other questions? Comments? Yes. Jan?
Thank you, Mayor. Not really a question, but a comment in that, Royal Palm is different for a reason. And the signage that you have on the building or had on the building before the renovation is quite sufficient, obviously bigger than the code. And so tonight I will be not in support of this.
Okay, thank you.
Can I just say one thing, that this is a higher end design for what we're doing. This is a higher end sign. This is found in most higher end places. This is not something we're just putting anywhere. This is it's very high, it's all high end material, and you guys have seen this all over the place. So it's the same logo that we're asking for. And I don't see why.
Okay.
I understand about the size of the square footage though is correct. It's just the sign type is the issue here.
Okay, thank you. So did you have something you wanted to offer me?
Yes, and I think the manager, was that somebody?
Oh, okay, I'm sorry, okay.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And Mr. Manager, is that public comment?
He is
Gary?
You?
He is with
I
me.
see your
yes.
hand up. If you unmute yourself, you'll be able to talk.
And Ray, it sounds like he's with the applicant, so I need to swear him in before he speaks.
Okay, you need to be sworn in before you speak, Gary.
Gary, can you hear me?
Of course. Do you have my camera on?
Do you need his camera on? He's asking.
Yes, if you can put it on, that would be great.
It says it's not allowed.
I will
Session does
allow
not-
it. I gotta
We're
Kinda-
giving you permission, just 1 second.
make presenter, make panelist, show attendee, nah. Enable camera, there it is. There you go, Gary. Let's see ya.
There he is.
How
Gary,
you
can
guys
you,
doing today?
I'm sorry, I forgot your last name, Gary, but can you raise your right
You have
hand
to
for
be
me?
sworn in.
Gabor.
Great, thank you. Can you raise your right hand? Thank you. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you, sir. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Gary, introduce yourself, please.
Yeah, so I work with the applicant here. My company, AGI, we do all the sign manufacturing for Nissan globally. I'm here with Jennifer to discuss this new sign that's being proposed. Yes, I get we are looking at it as a global design, and that's what we're pitching at, but it's more than that. I look at the sister dealerships, and I want to make sure I throw this into the mix before we make the final decision. They do have similar size signs, and if you allow me to share my screen, I'd like to go down that road right there on Southern Boulevard, just to kind of give you guys a visual aspect of why the dealership is so far back and needs a larger sign for this.
If you can do that, go ahead.
Yes, if you don't mind.
Hang on. Actually, I don't know that I can make them, I don't know.
I think that's a Randy question. Don't we have
Well, I'd have to make him an
issues?
organizer to allow him to share his screen, I believe. Which I'm not sure. Well, we'll try that.
It worked.
We got it?
All right.
I'm going to have,
Okay. We can see it.
Perfect. So as you can see, the sistering dealerships here, Toyota and Mazda, do have large entry element signs that are representing their brand. They're much larger than 80 square foot, 100 square foot. If I go down to what's currently there, and I want to stand corrected, it is a 60 square foot Nissan logo that is over the entrance door. Currently, well, not currently, the previous design. Like Jennifer mentioned, this has been stripped completely down to the ACM. We've already added some signs to this dealership, and we're going into this variance approval to add for the last piece. Now, 20 minutes down the road, we have another dealership that is a Nissan. Yes, it's in a different jurisdiction. And I wanted to show you guys a visual of the brand standards here with I-95 Nissan. What we're asking for is a similar sign here, is this Nissan tablet, we call it, entry element, to hang over the door. It's not big, it's not flashy, does light up. We have controllables on the illumination restrictions if need be, but I do want to share that because there's another one, Green Acres, that is another 20 minutes down the road as well. Again, I don't want to take too much of you guys' time, but definitely want to make sure you guys were fully aware of the sistering dealerships and what we're truly trying to achieve here with the variance request.
Okay. Anybody have any questions or comments? Yes, Mr. Vice Mayor.
Would you be able to go back to, because I think you showed a Toyota sign?
Oh, yeah.
And that's on Southern Boulevard, or?
Correct.
It's right next door.
Bradford, is that a cabinet sign?
It is.
it's something completely different.
Correct. And that's what my point is.
It was a huge discussion when we gave a variance for this one. This one, what it is the whole wall lights up behind that Toyota symbol. So in our ordinance, that whole wall was a sign, and they got a variance for it. And we had a over 2-hour meeting on all the dealerships and all the variances for them. And this one probably was, that Toyota one that you just flagged was probably more discussion than anything else.
Right, and it looks out of line with all the other signs that are also along the way. So, I mean, if we made one mistake in the past by doing such a thing, I don't see that we're bound to do, and I'm sure Mitty, right? Each one is separate, so there is no precedent for, just because my neighbor got this, that I'm entitled to get this because it's tied to the individual properties, correct?
That is exactly correct. So variances, the grant of variance for any other property doesn't set any precedent. What the council's job tonight is to review the codified criteria, which are in your agenda items. There are 7 criteria. And while I'm responding to that, I just want to give the council a couple of comments. The applicant has the burden to satisfy each of those criteria. So regardless of what was granted in the past for this site, for any other site in the village, that has no bearing on your decision tonight. Your decision tonight is based solely on whether you think the applicant has met their burden of satisfying all 7 of the criteria that are in your agenda item and that Bradford went over at the beginning of his presentation. So when it comes time for making motions, I'd like to make a couple of more comments, but the answer is no. There's no precedent setting, so regardless of what was done on this Nissan dealership or any other adjoining dealership has no bearing on the application. This application stands on its own tonight.
Okay, great. So
Can I ask
staying with that notion of the 7 special
Can I ask something here, please?
exceptions, let me
Oh,
finish
sure.
my thought, please. And your comment about, I think it was this number 2 in the
Right,
list,
that's my
indicating that it was something that was not caused by the applicant, but in fact by engaging knowingly in a contract to do this, and yet realizing that the current signage code did not permit it. Seems like you got things out of sequence there. And I would say that the discussion about the signage on in the auto mall area, dare I call it that, took place before my time. More importantly, it took place before we did an update to our signage code, which we spent a lot of time and a lot of money trying to come up with, which considered all of these signs and the requirements, and also surrounding communities. And we came down, as we try to often, in the middle. It seems to be a good, fair place. Doesn't mean it's going to satisfy everybody, but it does mean that, at least from a fairness point of view, I think most of us feel comfortable with that. The one other point that I would make is, so once again, these auto dealerships have been in place for longer than I've been on the council. And now we have need for a signage change. And I think I understand the reason is because of the branding and the relationship with the national level corporation. That, unfortunately for you, doesn't compel me to decide in favor of that. So where I am right now is not likely to support this request. So I don't know if anybody has any other comments, and if Mitty, if you want to weigh in at this point.
Yeah, I just would remind the council, as I tell you at all of the hearings where you have variances, so any motion to approve this application would be premised on the idea that you think that the applicant has met their burden and satisfied all 7 criteria. If in the alternative there's a motion to deny the application, I would need the maker of the motion to specify what criteria, they're listed 1 through 7 on your agenda item, that you don't think the applicant has met their burden to satisfy. So just when you get to the point of making motions, just be clear if there in fact is a motion to deny, that you specify the criteria that you don't think the applicant has met their burden to satisfy. And that was all I had, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you for that.
May I respond? I have something
Yes,
I'd like to
please,
say.
go ahead.
Also, the sign itself, I want everybody to be clear here that this is not a cabinet sign, okay? This has channel letters on the actual backer panel. So it's not what you consider an old type of a box sign. It just does not hinge open. It's not what they used to call a shoebox. That's not what it is. It actually has dimension to it. And like I stated before, it is high-end material. So I want everybody to know, and I don't know what the distinct definition is, but this is not, and we've discussed this with staff, this is not considered an actual box sign. It actually, and if you look at the plans that we have, there's things on here. There's channel letters on the panel. So if it's possible, and Gary, please jump in here, if you guys feel that if it's the size of it, if it's the background panel, is it possible that we can still have the sign and only light up the Nissan logo? Is it that the issue? Because if that's the case, I'd like to see, Gary, if that's something that we could entertain.
Absolutely. If the council has not appealed to the illumination red bouncing off, we have options to just illuminate the logo. The red portion is it's the brand global design. Yes, we're trying to attach with our request. So we have some flexibility there.
But, Mr. Mayor, I would just caution, the application before the council tonight is what is before the council tonight. And by definition in the village code, this is a cabinet sign. So whether she thinks it's a cabinet sign or the gentleman on the internet thinks it's a cabinet sign, by village code definition, it is a cabinet sign. So I understand there's nuances to sign construction, but under our code, this is by definition a cabinet sign, not a channel letter sign. So that's the application before you. I think the appropriate action is for the village council to act on this application. If they want to revise their application and come back, in the event of a denial, they do have to wait a certain period of time under the code to come back, but they could certainly withdraw their application if they want to do that and not confront a denial. But there shouldn't be a negotiation here tonight on the dais. The application before you is for the 100.22 square foot sign and the other variance that they've requested.
All right, thank you. Did you have something you want to say? Oh, no, hang on. So, yes, Vice Mayor.
I do have another question. Is there anything stopping them from putting the sign that they had right back on from, because she said that they did all this other work and they're looking for, the bigger sign, but can't they just put the old sign back?
Yes, sir, they can. They could come in with.
They cannot. It's the old image, the old Nissan logo. So it can't go back up because it was also embedded into the.
So you're saying it's physically impossible?
Correct. So that old logo, and you guys can still see my screen, right?
Yes.
Yes.
So that old logo over the entry element, this whole bump out has been removed. Where that logo was intruding through the ACM cutout, that is no longer there. It's been trashed, and also that is the old logo. We do have a new pylon that's currently installed that has the new image, the new logo, the Nissan logo, which mimics this same slick look where Jennifer was referring to the channel letters.
Okay, so I guess my follow-up to that, Mr. Mayor, if I could, I'm sorry.
Sure, go ahead.
Nothing under the code stopping them from giving them a sign that's consistent with the code, which is the box sign of the, 10
square feet.
10 square feet. So they can't put a sign there. It's just not the sign that they had before, and it would have to comply with the code.
Correct.
Okay. That's it, sorry.
They do have the entitlement for that sign that.
To be bigger than
whenever
what
I
it
say
was before.
they could put that exact sign back up, I don't mean take it out of the dumpster and then put it back up there. I mean, you could refabricate that sign and put it back on that
So
wall.
was there something else you wanted to say, Mr. O'Brien? You seemed to be.
No, I was just making sure that Councilman Richard Valentes was clear on his questions.
Yes, Mr. Manager. Okay. I think that's what he said.
They would need architectural approval. Correct. P&Z.
So they could build a 29 square foot of their new logo and bring that to the architectural study.
Okay, so they wouldn't have to go all the way back to square one. They wouldn't have to wait the time if this was to be denied. And so it'd be an application for it. Okay, so it would be quicker than
I'm sorry, Mayor, if I could please.
Go ahead, please.
This sign here, tonight they are getting they are applying for a variance. This sign here would, regardless, if it was approved, need architectural approval anyway. And it would need to go to P&Z. We didn't put the cart before the horse to get architectural approval for this sign before there was any determination by this council.
That's fine. But once again, as Mitty reminded us, what we are deciding on is what's in front of us right now. So is there any further discussion or?
And I just want to make sure that council's aware that there are 2 signs being requested as part of this variance. So if I just want to make sure whoever makes any motions is clear as to whether their motion applies to one or the other. I think you could bifurcate them in this case if there's a motion to deny one and approve the other, or deny all or approve all just remember that there are 2 signs that are requested for
Thank you
variance.
for that reminder. So the second part of this particular application then has to do with a request to approve 4 wall signs where 3 are permitted. Is that correct?
Correct.
So there's the difference of, the variance would be 1 additional wall sign, right?
Correct. And
Would
that one additional wall sign, there's 3 bay doors, service bay doors, where you go in and have your service. We were allowed to have 2 signs. We're asking for the 3rd, so all 3 are identified for service. It's 1 foot, it's 4 square feet.
Okay. Would anyone care to comment? Yes, Mr.
Yes,
O'Brien.
Mayor. And as I was saying, whenever I was speaking with Ray, whispering to Ray, is that this may be something that we would want to put on our strategic plan. So whenever there's like an entrance sign above these bays or something that draws attention to the service in the bay, that we would make certain regulations that where we wouldn't have to come forward with these types of variants for these types of signs in the future. Something to consider.
If I can direct your attention up there, Gary has that on the screen. That's what we're looking for. There's 3 bays right now, and we have identified 2 that were allowed by code. We're looking to identify the 3rd one so it's consistent.
Okay. Any comments or questions from the council about the 4 signs that are also a part of this application? As Mitty reminded us, we could separate these 2 if that was the desire of the council. So I give you that for consideration before I ask for a motion, unless there's something else to be considered at this point. Okay, not hearing anything else to be considered. What is the desire of the council?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to move that we deny application number 25-066 for criteria 2 and 3. Am I doing that right, Mitty?
Yes.
Okay.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? I hear no opposed. Denied unanimously. Sorry.
The second one, Mitty?
I believe the motion and the second were to deny the entire application.
It was the entire variance.
So we didn't separate them. We denied everything.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, then we move on to the next regular agenda item, public hearing to consider application number 25-024, comp plan text amendment and adoption of ordinance number 1057 on second reading. An application by the Village of Royal Palm Beach amending the future land use element of the village's comprehensive plan to create an entirely new future land use designation, the mixed use social center, less than 40 acres, MXS, less than 40. And so I will, let's see.
I have to read all these titles, so give me some grace.
We need the titles right.
Thank you,
yes.
sir. This, as you said, is ordinance number 1057, an ordinance of the Village Council of the Village of Royal Palm Beach, Florida, adopting an amendment to its comprehensive development plan in accordance with the mandates set forth in section 163.3184 et sec. Florida statutes pursuant to a village-initiated application number 25-024 CPA text, which provides for amendments to the text at future land use element in order to create an entirely new future land use designation, mixed-use social center less than 40 acres, MXS less than 40, providing for transmittal to the state land planning agency, providing for a conflicts clause, a severability clause, and authority to codify, providing an effective date, and for other purposes.
Okay. Are we good now? Okay, so with that done, I'll turn to Mr. O'Brien for another presentation.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm going to pick up speed here, so we.
Please.
And as part of the State Road 7 corridor study, the Treasure Coast Regional Planning Council developed a series of conceptual redevelopment plans for 4 sites along the corridor. The redevelopment concepts illustrated new buildings, blocks, roadways, public open spaces. These concepts were intended to test the densities and intensities of potential future redevelopment. Staff feels as though this text amendment accomplishes those goals. Let me go ahead and flip some pages here and keep going. The local planning agency considered the application on July 22nd, 2025, and recommended approval by a vote of 5-0. The Village Council considered Ordinance 1057 on first reading on September 18th, 2025, and recommended approval by a vote of 5-0. Staff is recommending approval of this application and ordinance 1057 on second reading. With that being said, Mayor, I'll turn the floor back over to you. Thank you.
Thank you. Since we're the applicant, I would assume you're satisfied with your own presentation. And this being the second reading, we'll look to public for any comment. Comment
No
card?
comment, Mayor.
No comment cards. Hands raised? There, is this a technical issue? Yes. Okay.
We lost the power.
Wow. Okay. Yes, yes, indeed. Okay, then, so anyone here in the audience care to make a comment on regular agenda item number 4? This being the second reading, I see none. So I close the floor to public comment. We've already done the reading of the ordinance, or not the ordinance, but yeah, it is the ordinance. And so move to the council. Any comments or questions about this second reading of the comp plan text amendment and ordinance? Not seeing any, then I will look for a motion in a second.
Motion to approve regular agenda item R4.
Second.
I have a motion and a second.
Mr. Mayor, I just want to make sure the clerk just indicated to me that we lost Councilwoman Radusky in the disconnection, so proceed with, you can proceed, you have a quorum, so you're fine, but
right.
I just wanted you to be aware.
Okay, all right, thank you. All right, I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Not hearing any opposed. It passes 4-0. All right, next agenda item is public hearing for first reading and approval of ordinance number 1066, an application by the Village of Royal Palm Beach amending Chapter 26 zoning at Section 26-22. Definition is to amend the definition of clinic and to add 2 entirely new definitions for medical office and vehicle sales. That's an interesting combination. New used and or rental, indoor or outdoor. And so, do we have an ordinance to
Yes,
read?
I have a title to read. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It's ordinance number 1066, an ordinance of the Village Council of the Village of Royal Palm Beach, Florida, amending Chapter 26 zoning at Sections 26-22 definitions to add definitions for the terms medical office and vehicle sales, new, used, and/or rental, indoor or outdoor, and revise the current definition for the term clinic, providing that each and every other section and subsection of Chapter 26 zoning shall remain in full force and effect as previously adopted, providing a conflicts clause, a severability clause, and authority to codify, providing an effective date, and for other purposes.
Okay, thank you. So I turn to Mr. O'Brien again for staff presentation on this.
Great, thank you again, Mayor. We are looking to amend Village Code to add definitions. This is the definition for clinic. We are proposing some very minor changes to that to help cross-reference our new definition of medical office. This medical office basically is to kind of button up our idea of what a medical office is. And for vehicle sales, what we wanted to do is we wanted to first define vehicle sales, and then also to put locational limitations on these to where it will be let me back up. For the outdoor sales of cars only, the others can occur in where they're able to occur currently. But for the outdoor vehicle sales establishments, they shall front and be oriented towards Southern Boulevard. So this would prohibit the location of outdoor car sales along Okeechobee Boulevard, along State Road 7. There are some commercial properties that are on Rural Palm Beach Boulevard. We're also limiting and prohibiting them, I shouldn't say prohibiting, but they wouldn't be able to locate there just off of Southern Boulevard and fronting and oriented towards Southern Boulevard, much like what we have currently today. And I'll turn the floor back over to you, Mayor. The local planning agency voted to approve this application, and staff is recommending approval. I'll turn the floor back over to you, Mayor. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. O'Brien. Open it up for public comment. No cards? Okay, and we know technically we have no hands raised. Anyone here care to comment on regular agenda item number 5? If not, I will then turn to the council and see if you all have any comments, questions. If not, I will look for a motion in a second.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to offer a motion to approve agenda item number 5, first reading.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Not hearing any opposed. It passes 4-0. Thank you very much. Moving on to regular agenda item number 6, public hearing for the first reading and approval of ordinance number 1060, an application by the Village of Royal Palm Beach amending Chapter 26, zoning at Section 26-40 to add additional modifications that can be processed administratively through minor site plan modifications. And I think Councilman Miller commented on that before you. So do you read the title, please?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, thank you. This is ordinance number 1060, an ordinance of the Village Council of the Village of Royal Palm Beach, Florida, amending Chapter 26 zoning at Section 2640. I'll fix that for second reading. Minor amendments to previously approved site plans to add additional modifications that can be processed administratively through minor site plan modification, providing that each and every other section and subsection of Chapter 26 zoning shall remain in full force and effect as previously adopted, providing a conflicts clause, a severability clause, and authority to codify, providing an effective date and for other purposes.
Okay.
Great. Thank you, Mayor. As Councilman Miller stated, we looked at our site plan modification process. As staff, we went back and looked at some of the site plan modifications that came before our council. Many of those site plan modifications had some meat and potatoes to them, but then there are other aspects of that application. If standing alone, we gave it kind of the eye roll test. If we were to bring these little ones to you guys, would you, like, what are we doing here, Bradford? So these are the types that we included in our minor site plan modification. So as you can see here, some of the amendments are underlined. Minor field adjustments on the site plan items or landscaping, which should not change the footprint of the structure, which may include but not limited to relocation of fences, non-structural structures by no more than 5 feet, utilities or current species availability of landscaping, modifications to the plant schedule to allow for smaller material specifications when accompanied by a sworn statement by the owner applicant that the approved material specifications cannot be obtained and the modified specifications meet village code requirements. So they would not be able to fall short of our village code requirements unless they are what we term ornamental, something that they've added, to add to what is required by our code. Addition of ingress or egress points providing cross-access to adjacent properties. Addition or modification to small accessory structures, other site improvements such as generators, sheds, traffic bollards, propane tank storage cages, air compressors, service stations, ice merchandise. This is where we went back. Or mail kiosk, relocation of loading spaces, and repurposing of recreation courts. Changes to the intended and labeled permitted use of buildings and structures where there is no impact on required parking. The local planning agency approved this text amendment, and village staff is recommending approval of this application. I'll turn the floor back over to you, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. O'Brien. Open it up for public comment. Do we have any cards?
Here.
Okay. Anyone here care to make a comment on regular agenda item number 6? Not seeing any, I will close the floor to public comment. Any questions or comments from the council? Not seeing any of those, I will look for a motion and a second.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve ordinance 1060, agenda item number 6.
I have a motion and
Second.
I have a motion in 2 seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No opposed. It passes 4-0. Thank you very much. Moving on to regular agenda item number 7, a public hearing for the first reading and approval of ordinance number 1063, an application by the Village of Royal Palm Beach amending Chapter 22's subdivision of land, Chapter 7, bulkheads and waterways, and Chapter 2, administration of Code of Ordinances of the Village of Royal Palm Beach at various sections to comply with recent changes to Section 177.071 Florida statutes governing the plat approval process.
As excited as I got over this ordinance, I'm going to turn the floor over to Mitty because this is one that she had put together.
He dumped over here has this many pages. So read the title, Mr. Mayor, if I could, and then I'll explain to council. As you said, it's ordinance number 1063, an ordinance of the Village Council of the Village of Royal Palm Beach, Florida, amending Chapter 22, subdivision of land, Chapter 7, bulkheads and waterways, and Chapter 2, administration of the Code of Ordinances of the Village of Royal Palm Beach at various sections to comply with recent changes to Section 177.071 Florida statutes governing the plat approval process, providing a conflicts clause, a severability clause, and authority to codify, providing an effective date, and for other purposes. I tried to give you the bullets, but the short story here is they changed this, the legislature changed the state law. We can no longer require our preliminary plat and final plat applications to come to public hearing, meaning they can no longer come to council for approval. They have to be approved administratively. So this ordinance looks very intense, but what it's doing is revising your very robust plat ordinance in Chapter 22 to comply with state law. So you'll see the strike-throughs. We've taken out the council's authority and replaced it with either the manager or the engineer. We have not changed the process in terms of applications coming through TSR, technical staff review. So we have tried to maintain as much of the existing process as we can in complying with the state law. So no change to TSR. Chris and the village surveyor are very involved in plat review, both preliminary and final. So this doesn't change that. That same technical review will happen. It just means once there is a certification from TSR that there will be an administrative approval rather than a public hearing before you guys. So the other changes to the other sections are just random cross-reference changes where there was preliminary plat language or public hearing reference to make sure that those sections were also complying with the state law. So there's a lot in there, but we essentially don't have a choice. We have to follow the state law. So we have to revise the village code to reflect the mandates of the state law. So with that, I'll stop and answer any questions that the council has.
Any council questions? Yes, Mr. Manager.
Make one comment. I mean, platting is important because platting guarantees infrastructure. When you take one piece of property and divide it into several pieces of property, you have to make sure you have roadways, water, sewer, transport, and drainage. And all the changes still guarantee all those things. We still have the bonding requirements. We still have build the infrastructure before you can file that final plat. So all those things are still in place.
This actually sounds like something that goes along the lines of just trying to streamline the process. The sad thing is it takes away speaking of home rule as we have at this level. The good news is the technical, the more substantial piece is still there.
Yeah, but it was one of those approvals that is, remember I showed you the pyramid from the beginning, at the very bottom is land use. That's where you have the greatest amount of authority. As you get to the top, your authority goes away. This is the final plat was at the very top. There was so much work and money spent before you got to that point that the council approval of the final plat was really, was the word ministerial?
That's a very great point. I should have said that. It is a ministerial approval. So although I don't want to say that undermining your authority, but it really is. It's different than the quasi-judicial items that we just had. It's a legislative action rather than a quasi-judicial action. So it's very different in terms of
that's a good
latitude.
Point. Thank you. Okay. With that said, unless there's some other comments or questions from the council, I look for a motion.
Public comment. I'm sorry, Mr. Mayor.
Oh, I'm sorry. Public comment. Gosh. Yes, we do have a comment. Come on up.
Now, if I'm reading this correctly.
Once again, just for the record, identify.
Dave Sager, resident of Counterpoint. If I'm reading this correctly, it's just for the state taking over waterway usage? Is that? No, I'm not reading that correctly. Because I guess my concern is if we get a major flooding event, was this going to prevent the water from the waterways going into the C-51 canal or anything like that? I mean,
You want me to respond?
I'll ask our attorney to.
Yeah, so this doesn't change anything having to do with what you're talking about. This is just a change to the plat approval process. So the only reason that waterway chapter and bulkhead chapter is even referenced is because there was reference to the plat process. There's no change to waterways other than the direct impact to the platting process. So no change to what you're talking
Okay,
about.
I just need a definition of the platting process.
So subdivision of land. So your neighborhood where you live, when they originally came through and developed that neighborhood, they divided a big parcel into individual lots.
Right.
That process of
Okay.
subdividing land into smaller lots.
Okay.
Yeah, no change to waterways or drainage
Oh,
or
okay,
any of that.
that was my concern at the last meeting was, and they told me that was another issue to bring up here, so.
Okay, yeah, this does not change
Yeah,
that.
I just wanted to make sure we were still okay, so.
No problem, thank you. Appreciate that. Okay, now back to the council. Are there any other questions or comments from the council? If not, I'll look for a motion and a second.
Mr. Mayor, I offer motion that we approve agenda item number 7.
Second.
I have a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? It passes unanimously 4-0. And finally, regular agenda item number 8, public hearing for the first reading and approval of ordinance number 1065, an application by the Village of Royal Palm Beach amending Chapter 26 zoning at Article 3, administrative procedures, to create entirely new sections, Section 2642, reasonable accommodations, in order to codify the village's existing process for processing reasonable accommodations requests in housing, including such requests from certified recovery residences as required by Florida Statute 397.487 and repealing Resolution number 16-53. So I will look to the reading.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This, as you said, is ordinance number 1065, an ordinance of the Village Council of the Village of Royal Palm Beach, Florida, amending Chapter 26 zoning at Article 3, administration and procedures, to create entirely new Section 26-42, reasonable accommodations, in order to codify the village's existing process for processing reasonable accommodation requests in housing, including such requests from certified recovery residents as required by Florida Statute 397.487, repealing Resolution number 1653, providing that each and every other section and subsection of Chapter 6 zoning shall remain in full force and effect as previously adopted, providing a conflicts clause, a severability clause, and authority to codify, providing an effective date, and for other purposes. And I see that Bradford has left me holding the bag on this one as well. But I knew that one was coming. This is a similar scenario. So the change to the state law requires the Village Council to adopt an ordinance by January 1st of 2026 that establishes a reasonable accommodation process for certified recovery residences. You already, as many of you know, you already have a reasonable accommodation process that was established by Resolution 16-53. In order to avoid confusion in that you have a resolution that establishes a reasonable accommodation process or policy that applies to any request for reasonable accommodation, and then put something in your ordinance that's only specific to certified recovery residences, what this ordinance does is codifies your existing resolution. So this is exactly the process that you have, with the exception that the changes and references to certified recovery residences that are required by the new state law are also in this ordinance. So this is not a new reasonable accommodation policy. This is your existing policy, just put in ordinance form, and then obviously the mandated certified recovery residence cross-references are there, and there's a definition, but this is your existing process put into the code rather than in resolution form. And again, to comply with state law. So we're getting close to the deadline, but we're going to make it just in time before January 1st.
Okay, all right, great, thank you. All right, I'll open it up for public comment again. Any cards?
No comments,
We
Mayor.
have no cards. Any comment on this one? Oh, okay, great. Thank you very much. I'll close the floor to public comment and look to the council for any questions or comments on regular agenda item number 8. No comments or questions, then I look for a motion in a second.
Mr. Mayor, make a motion to approve regular agenda item number 8.
I have a motion. I need
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No opposed. It passes unanimously 4-0. I thank you all very much, and I want, before I adjourn the meeting formally, to wish you all a very happy Thanksgiving. It's a great opportunity to be grateful for all the wonderful things we have, including this great council, this great staff, and this great village of Royal Palm Beach. You all have a fantastic and a very happy Thanksgiving.
Have a safe flight.
Meeting adjourned.